Hello, in this video I will attempt to show you how I make surface mount stuff. Excuse my voice, it's a bit rough because I got a cold and I need to get this shit done and I don't have time to wait till I get better. So this is the board I'll be making. I ordered this from PCB Cart and I'll give you a link in the description, and on their website they have an option. It's like an extra $10 or something. You can get a laser cut stencil. Now to align these, you'll notice I've got these two holes. See this hole? This hole? You want to get as much distance as you can between these, and don't make them plated, because if you have a plated hole the diameter isn't accurate. So these particular holes for this spacer I have, where is it? It's not going to focus on that. That's a round metal spacer. This one I just had lying around and it's exactly 4mm in diameter. diameter. So I've specified a 4mm hole here, and keep in mind the drills they use to make these are made in a resolution of 0.05mm. So if you specify 4.03, they'll drill 4.05, or if you specify 4.02, they'll drill it at 4. They round it off to the nearest 0.05. I can't tell you where I got this spacer from, because that was just lying around. There is an Australian website called Arlen that you could go on, and I'll give you a link to them as well, and they've got a whole range of metal spacers. So you just want to specify a hole same size as the outside diameter of the spacer. Now on the screen, that's these two holes here and here. These ones you want to specify slightly larger. I actually specified these 2 thou larger than the hole in the board, because you want that to be able to be easily like lifted on and off, but you don't want play, very little play, because obviously some of your pads are quite small. So with this, these spacers, they're actually a neat fit. They turned out to be a pretty neat fit in the hole. They're not tight, they just sit in there without any play. So you can put a couple of those in. And obviously you want to clean the board with a bit of isopropyl and cotton. Get the gold flashing, it works better. The paste seems to stick to it better, I don't know. It doesn't cost much more. If you're only doing prototypes, it's worth the extra money. And then this just fits on top, and then that can be pasted. Now to paste it I use, where is it? This is the solder paste I use. Get the leaded stuff. It's better, it melts at a lower temperature, as you probably know. Try not to get it under your fingernails, because it is lead and it will seep into your bloodstream and you might get a bit dopey down the track, which isn't helpful with electronics when you're trying to do smart stuff. I just use this. This is from a SIM card. I use that to paste it. And you want to be careful when you're pasting it. If you push down here where that screen isn't supported, the screen will lift here, and when it comes back down it smooshes the paste everywhere underneath it, which is no good. But you can still do it, just be careful. I won't do it like this time because I'm making a few of these. So what I've got is this. So the spacers I've screwed down. This is a CD cut into 4 pieces. This is the lump of wood that actually comes with the stencil. That's what they package it in. Rubber feet on the bottom. And that just gives me a good steady surface that I can paste on. So I'll take those spacers out of there. So that fits neatly on there. And I'll give him a clean bit of isopropyl. Actually, I better watch what I'm doing, or I might end up with white shit on the board. Usually I clean the board and then put it on this, but I'm not very good at making YouTube videos. Okay. Let me pop him on here. Oh, something else I wanted to show you. Some of these parts, you need to be able to position them. Like, see this modem here? You can't use your component overlay to position these, or maybe you could, but it's not good. It's not an accurate thing. They just line it up by eye, and then when they screen print component overlay, the screen stretches, and it's not an accurate thing. So what I've actually got, and I don't know if you'll see it. Oh yeah, you can see it. See that? It's got to be on the copper layer, because the copper layer is accurate. So after I've pasted this, I'll use these little crosses here and here to position that module. And the bigger parts that are position critical, you want to put on first, because that paste will dry out by the time you're finished, and it's not as sticky, and parts end up sitting on top of it instead of sticking into it. So something like that I would put on first. Anyway, let's paste it. Okay, ready to paste. I might take a break, I need a drink of water or something. Okay, I am about to paste. So when you look through here, you should be able to see that that's well lined up. I don't usually do this behind a camera, but I'll see how I go. I'll just try and work around this thing. What I might do is cut a little bit of this off. Use it like a spoon. Like I said, try not to get this under your fingernails or whatever. Don't eat it. Okay, now you want to put quite a bit of pressure and try to get a sharp angle on that with respect to the screen, and you'll be able to see if it's doing what it should. It's fine to go over it as many times as you want. You can't really overdo it. As long as that screen sits flat, it's not gonna push more through than you want. Okay. I think that's pretty good. You can just look and see if it's in all the holes. Yeah, I reckon that's pretty good. Somehow the card I chose doesn't have a flat edge on it. I don't know why. I'll probably grab another one. So that's one. Take the screen off, have a look, see if it looks good. This one does. If it looks blobby, if it looks like it's too much, don't worry. Like that paste, when that actually melts into solder, the amount of solder that you get is probably less than a quarter of what you see in terms of paste, or about a quarter. No doubt someone will correct me on that. But it's quite forgiving. It goes where it's meant to be. Surface tension pulls the parts into the middle. Well, for smaller parts it does. Things like this won't move, that module. All the 0603s and that will center perfectly. So I'm making 2 of these. So I'll try and get a macro shot of that and figure out how to put a photo into the video. And I've got to do one more. Here's my second board. This time I'll clean it before it goes on the jig. Now, the paste that's on this is still wet, but if that had dried up, you need to clean it and make sure all the holes are clear before you do the next board. But that's not the case this time. Okay. Oh, I missed one part over here. What's another advantage of the gold flashing? Is it makes it obvious if you miss one, because you see gold on silver. So they were just silver pads, tinned pads. It's not as obvious which ones you've missed. Off. Looks pretty good. Okay, now I'll show you how I stick the parts on. There are some parts on the bottom of this board, but I don't know how the hell I'd do that at the same time, so I just put those on by hand afterwards. Okay, so I'm about to start loading parts onto these. You'll see I've already put the modems on. That's the end of an IC tube. The pip out of the end, I stuck that on there with double-sided tape just to give me something to hang on to with the tweezers to put the part down. So because that's gone on first, that paste will stick it on pretty well. Now all the parts I order from DigiKey, and what I do is in the customer reference I put the designator, so I just pick up one bag at a time. We can see this is C16, 19 and 18, 28 to 30. So I stick these down with a bit of double-sided tape and peel the top off. Now, this is the bubble off a bicycle horn from Kmart. This is vinyl tubing from Bunnings. This will go under my foot. This is the cap off a syringe of solder paste. And what I can do is my foot gives me some vacuum. Wow, I never do this behind a camera. And then when I take my foot off, I get suction. I can stick him on there. You didn't even see that, did you? I'll try to show you. There's no shoddy or anything on this. You probably get like 15 seconds of vacuum. And if you start running out of vacuum, just put it somewhere so when the part drops you don't lose it. You just continue like that. I'm going to have to get this camera out the way to be able to do it efficiently, but I'll show you when I'm done, and I'll show you how I solder them. Okay, so it is an hour and 20 minutes later, and this is what the floor looks like, and I've fully loaded 2 boards. Now, something I forgot to mention before regarding those holes that you use to align the paste mask, the PCB manufacturer will need some convincing that yes, that is what you actually want. Usually with PCB cart, there's an option where they send you a check plot first and they get it wrong, and then you tell them that's wrong, put the holes back in, and then they usually get it right. There was one occasion where they actually put a grate over the hole because they like to break up big pads into little smaller pads, but I was able to cut that out okay. Now these boards need to be handled as if all the parts are just sitting there, because by the end the solder paste isn't really sticky and the parts are just sitting there. So you need to pick them up very carefully and slowly and take them over to the oven. So I'm ready to solder. As you've probably guessed, my reflow oven is a toaster oven. I got 4 elements, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom. That foil is to stop the boards getting direct heat from the elements, because we don't want to actually toast the boards. And I've drilled a hole here, and I've got a thermocouple going to the center of a circulation fan, and I think that's important to have as well. Apart from that, you just want to go for maximum power and minimum volume in there, so that the temperature can ramp up as fast as possible. So this has got all sorts of modes for cookies and muffins and pizza and whatever, but there's no circuit board mode, so I set it for cookies and I find that seems to work, and I set the temp for 150. And the idea is to leave it for a few minutes, 2 or 3 minutes at 150, and that way the boards will preheat to a temperature where they don't have to heat as far to get to reflow, so you get a more even temperature at reflow. And also the flux seems to, the flux in the solder paste seems to do good stuff and wet and flow better. Okay, this has now been between 120 and 150 for 3 minutes. So now I'm gonna stop it and ramp it up. I'll just put it flat out. Don't know if you'll see much. Oh, you might. Yeah, you might see it reflow. This is just a budget Android. Maybe I can put the light on. How do I do that? I don't know. Doesn't come up as fast as I'd like, but it is what it is. I'll pause this. You don't have to wait with me. Okay, so it's hit 200. So any minute now we should see reflow. Oh, shit. The glass is quite hot. Yep, there it goes. You may have just seen that SO8 flow. and the bigger packages just flowed. So I would normally give it about 30 seconds from now. In this case I'll give it about a minute, because I want to make sure that module at the back flows properly. The thermostat on this thing's a little uncooperative. It went up and now it's dropping again. I don't really want it to do that. It may be worth rigging up a button or a switch where you can just turn the elements on. Okay, I think that should hopefully do it. Let's drop to 190. Okay. Just open the door a little bit. So results look pretty good. I got my phone through a Maggie lamp here. There's no bridging. Looks like everything's soldered. No tombstoning. Oh yeah, there's one. C11 did it. The modem didn't drop off, so I'll try and get some macro shots of this and figure out how to get them into the video. But I usually get really good results, which is why I wanted to share this. Focus. I'm better at doing this than I am at making videos. Okay. Yeah, so that's it. See you later.